So yeah, the topic that we're looking at today is translocation. It's how plants move sugars, right? And this is key. Translocation is how plants move food, right? To one part of the body of the plant to another. And this kind of triggers ideas in me. A plant creates food by photosynthesis in its leaves. That's such a posh diagram. So this is a leaf, and this is where photosynthesis generally happens. Okay, photosynthesis. The problem is that a plant needs. I haven't shared the screen. Oh my lordy lord. Let's go for it. There we go. All right. So thank you for that, Daniela. So translocation is how plants move food, and as I was saying, they make the food by photosynthesis in the leaves. However, all living things need glucose for respiration. And I mean every single one of our cells, every single one of the plant cells. So even when we go deep underground to the very root tip, here, this part of the plant needs glucose. It can't make it by photosynthesis. One of the main reasons is, well, it's underground and there's no sunlight. So when we looked at xylem was the movement of water and minerals from the root upwards. And that's powered by transpiration. And these words are very similar. This is not transpiration, this is translocation. How sugar moves down here. And active is a really cool plant like a strawberry that I like to eat strawberries. That looks like an upside down strawberry rather than anything else. So if it's a strawberry plant, it's how the sugars move from the leaf to the actual fruit. Now, as I said to you last time, animals, us, we use a heart. Plants don't have a heart. And we looked at two bundles, the vascular bundles. We looked at the xylem and the phloem. Now, the xylem, I showed you how to do experiments on it and have a look at xylem with celery and other plants with stalks. And what you've got to think about, the main food plants makes is, well, it actually is glucose. But how it transports and what it changes it into is sucrose. Okay? And what sucrose is, and this is where it gets tricky, sucrose is two sugars joined together. All right? Let's go here. So here's this lovely kind of neat picture. So sucrose is transported. This is the transport molecule. This is used for moving around the plant. And it's made of glucose joined to fructose. Okay? Now, you've got certain words to do with how it moves and where it moves. But that's the first most important thing. The transport sucrose. Right? Now, how the phloem works. They're made of living cells. Right? As I showed you last time, about 2 weeks ago, they are joined by cell walls. They actually have cell walls between them, but it's not really a proper thick, strong cell wall. It's like a sieve. It's called a sieve plate. And they're little tiny gaps allowing stuff to move between the cells that make them up. All right? Here's a cross section that we've seen a couple of times. The phloem is here, the xylem is on the inside. Okay. Now, here's the tiny holes that make up the sieve or the sieve plates. And, you know, if you do kind of interesting things like work with plants, you'll realize plants have sap, right? And it's a sugary water. Those sieve plates, those holes in the sieve plates, allow the movement of that sugary water, right? So last time we looked at transpiration. We're not. This is translocation, right? Now, the phloem, the things to remember, the phloem carries sugars around the plant. The sugar it moves is called sucrose, right? It's made in the leaves. And now what we're going to do is introduce two more words. One word is the source. This is where the sucrose is made. The sink is what needs it. And if we look at this, so I'm going to change this actually. I'm going to change this to a potato plant. I'm just going to change the colour of here. All right. So if this was a potato plant, there's a potato growing underneath. The source of sucrose is the leaves. The part that needs it, in this case, the sink, now change it to a potato plant, is the actual potato. So the sucrose will move from the leaf into the potato. Another sink, which is even more interesting, is like a growing flower or a shoot tip. It's growing. It needs glucose or sucrose. So this is also a sink. And if you notice very carefully, the sink can be in two opposite directions. And what I mean by that, with transpiration, water only moves from the roots upwards. Now I'm going to change colour for transpiration. Transpiration only moves upwards because that's transpiration. That's up the xylem vessel. But for translocation, it has to move both up into the growing root tips, shoot tips, growing flowers, and down into the root tips that are underground and can't photosynthesize, and into a potato, into the tuber. Okay, there's a lot, an absolute ton to remember there. As per usual, you are year 10. I've got some easy kind of questions, but these are exam style questions that I've written. All right. They are not laid out like an exam question, but they are worded like that. Okay. So that's your job today. Let's stop recording.